Hello, John.
Good evening. We're in Studio 4C tonight. It's November 20th, 2025, Thursday. It's my pleasure and certainly my distinct honor to be speaking to one of the men from the greatest generation of all times, Mr. John J. Jeckovich. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
You're looking well. You look nice in your new sweater. Is it nice and warm?
Yeah, yeah.
New shoes too.
Yeah, they fit good.
They
fit
comfortable?
Good, yeah.
Not bad, not bad. Hey, did you have a good dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you had a special visitor.
Mary, Amber, yeah.
Did she keep you busy?
Yeah.
I heard she was here from about 1 to 6 today. What'd you two talk about?
Well, she slept half the time.
Well, Lee, listen, even if she sleeps on your couch when visiting, that's still okay with me.
Yeah.
What happened to the rest of our relatives?
Like the what?
Where's the rest of the relatives?
Yeah.
At least she shows up, right?
Yeah.
When she was awake, what did you two talk about?
Yeah.
When she was awake, when she was awake, what did you two talk about?
Well, she's excited about what she's doing.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
Yeah.
Mr. Jeckovich's great-granddaughter is Amber Nicole Jeckovich. She's in her 20s. She looks like a teenager still, right?
Yeah.
She looks like a teenager still. If you Google her name, Amber Jeckovich.
Well, she's engaged now.
No kidding.
Yeah, so her mind's set up on something else now.
So, well, that's good. That's good. She deserves all the happiness. Oh, yes, she does. She deserves all the happiness. Amber's in her 20s. If you Google her name, you can see some of probably the short reels that she did with Mr. Jeckovich. It's Amber Jeckovich, Jeckovich. So you can see who I'm speaking of, a nice young lady, even though she's in her 20s. She's got good genes and she still looks like a teenager, right?
Yeah.
Still looks like a teenager. So she's engaged.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we wish her all the happiness because she certainly deserves it. Amber's a full-time missionary and average surfer. She surfed all over the world and she won't stop. Surfing is something I was told you could do in your senior life too.
Oh, yeah.
Amber will too. Amber surfs what, every day?
Yeah.
Oh, did you ever surf?
No.
Would you want Amber to teach you?
No. No.
So besides that, she had a pretty good day. Wow. Mr. Jeckovich is from the greatest generation of all time, bar none. Mr. Jeckovich was from Company H, the 2nd Battalion of the 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich lives by the motto, he's got 2 doctors, his left leg and his right leg. You jogged for 85 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Jeckovich is 100 years old now. We had one hell of a big party for him 2 weeks ago. Congressmen, senators.
Birthday.
What's that?
The birthday party.
Big one. Sheriff Chitwood came, 50 Army soldiers came, mayors came. We got all types of beautiful awards. There was about 200 people, and Mr. Jeckovich stayed up the entire time from about 9 a.m. to midnight, shaking everyone's hand and speaking to everyone. You didn't get tired. You had a lot of energy that day, didn't you? And Jen's planning out your 101st birthday.
Yeah.
That's right.
Your 101st birthday's planning out.
Yeah.
Instead of 200, she's gonna have 1,000.
Yeah.
1,000 guests.
Yeah.
1,000 guests. It'll be beautiful, Mr. Jeckovich. Mr. Jeckovich, during World War II, he was shot in the shoulder by a sniper. He was beat up, he was stabbed, he was bombed.
Lost a
hip. Trench foot, frostbite. You still suffer from frostbite
Yeah,
today?
right in that right foot, yeah.
Wow, 85 years. And he still suffers from frostbite. You still have shrapnel in your body too, right?
Yeah.
If you had to get on an airplane, what would you tell the,
I give him a slip of paper.
and that lets them know the reason why the
Yeah,
metal alarms
yeah.
are going off? Yeah, yeah. Mr. Jeckovich is a teenage boy. He was awarded the Bronze Service Star, Purple Heart Medal, Army Good Conduct Medal, American Campaign Medal, European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with 3 Bronze Service Stars, World War II Victory Medal, Army of Occupation Medal with Germany clasp, Combat Infantry Badge, Sharpshooter Badge with carbine, pistol, machine gun bars, Marksman Badge with rifle bar, and Honorable Service lapel button, World War II. You know, we're reading your book the second time around. It's a big book, right? How many pages?
849.
Big, beautiful book, yeah. Second time around, you listen to it for free just by listening to some of his 640 podcasts. There's a lot of good information about his life when he started taking care of his mother at age 11 to her demise at 89. They lived in the same house. It's a beautiful situation. And the book is titled Their Mother's Sons, and that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. But we're the second time around in the book, and we're on page 316, and it's titled Passwords, Kia, and Hospital Bound. So this page 316 is right in the thick of fighting in the Battle of Bulge. It's right in the thick of a storm, 90+% casualties. And then later, Mr. Jeckovich, with thousands of other wonderful teenage American GIs, liberated the POW camps and Holocaust camps. This is something you would never want to see. Never want to see. He had to stop the Germans because Hitler wasn't stopping in Europe. He was coming to the United States. He was coming. He was coming. If the United States didn't enter the war on December 8th, 1941, we'd be in big trouble. Roosevelt entered it, and we kicked the Nazis out. They occupied Paris. They did a lot of casualties there. Everywhere they went, there was death and destruction. Before December 8th, 1941, of the United States officially entering the war, they were on a Lend-Lease program.
Yeah.
Give them ships and planes and ammo, but we didn't participate. So we have millions of text messages, but we're way behind on the book. So I'm going to try to put 10 pages under my belt so we can at least get 10 pages out, all right?
Okay.
Did you want to read it or want me to?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Page 316, right in the middle of Battle of Bulge. We were told to scrounge around for food, clothing, and ammunition. Scattered about town were piles of clothing, ammunition, and equipment, all guarded by the MPs against looters and their own soldiers who would sell them on a black market. So it was a mess. You're fighting the Nazis, you're having all kinds of problems, and then with your own division, some of the soldiers would sell the stuff on the black market and steal it.
Yeah.
During the Battle of Bulge, they found 3 Germans dressed up as American soldiers.
Yeah.
Were you aware of that too?
You are.
That there was Nazis dressing up as American soldiers?
Yeah.
They had a quick trial for them, and it determined espionage. The penalty is hanging.
Yeah.
So those Nazis, 3 Nazis that I'm aware of, that were charged with espionage, was found guilty, and they hung them right there, in the public square.
Shot 'em.
They hung them.
Yeah.
They hung them. And the interesting fact, those 3 Nazis they hung didn't show any remorse, didn't show any emotions at all. Just looked straight on, took the noose around their necks, and they dropped them.
Yeah.
And that was it. And that was it. We found a mess line in front of a battered house and went to the rear of the line. I dusted off my mess kit from my pack And luckily, the utensils were still intact, so you didn't use your best kit because you haven't eaten in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
But you still had the utensils intact. The food smelled good as we approached the serving area. It was stew and dumplings, canned peaches, hot coffee, and sheet cake. The Army's favorite, but it tasted great. So the Army had good cooks.
Oh, yeah.
You enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Compared to coming over on that troop ship, what was the food like there?
It was, you get the smell of diesel all the time.
And the food?
Yeah, food was grimy. It's greasy.
Who was cooking it?
Limeys.
Limeys. I heard it in some part in this book, there's the favorite, it's called really a gross title, but it's called Shit on a Shingle. What's that all about?
That's egg on the bread, on the toast.
It's good.
Yeah, yeah.
But they named it that just to be kind of funny, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't blame them. If you're on death row, basically, you would, you could toy around with anything. Okay, after we had gone back for seconds, I got my people together and asked them to see if they could find an aid station. Lester found one, and we filled in, hoping to get some relief from our aching, swollen feet. A few times during the war, you were handling a flamethrower, right?
Say what?
A few times during the war, you had a flamethrower, right?
Yeah.
Flamethrowers, for those who don't know, the casualty rate's about 98%. The enemy always targets someone with a flamethrower.
Yeah.
You're a hell of a target.
They're real destructive.
You're a hell of a target for the enemy.
Yeah.
Lester had found one, filed in, hoping to get some relief for our aching, swollen feet. So your feet were horrible. Wet socks,
Yeah.
frozen socks,
Yeah.
snow, out in the snow for 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Coldest winter record, and that's why you're still suffering from frostbite. The medics made a few incisions in various spots in our feet, coated them with an antiseptic, and gave each of us a pair of socks, marked us fit for duty, and sent us on the way. That reminds me when you got shot up many a time, and you went to the hospital in Paris, and they bandaged you up after 3 or 4 months in the hospital, which was a long time. Your injuries must have been extremely severe. They said, if your index finger is able to squeeze the trigger of a machine gun, and if you're able to walk, what are you classified?
Fit for duty.
Fit for duty. They wouldn't do that today, but they did it then. Even back then, they would go so desperate for men into the Bulge, they were even taking the wounded Americans and the rear echelon and gave them weapons to fight. It was a tough war, lots of casualty. Let's see. At an aid station, we met up with some members of the rest of our platoon who weren't so lucky. Several from the Larson squad were in rough shape. One had 4 toes amputated. That was from frostbite, right?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. His heel scraped to the bone and new skin grafted from his thigh. Another had his right foot amputated. Oh, geez. His left foot was missing the big toe and part of the heel. All were eventually evacuated to England and then to the States to spend the next several years recovering from their ordeal. Yeah. Most of us do not realize the seriousness of frostbite. Yeah, many people don't take frostbite serious, but it's a serious thing. It's a serious thing. At times, there was not too much when one could do to prevent this onslaught. Due to circumstances in the field, even so, we understand its ramifications and took the necessary precautions when possible. We had gotten quite used to the idea of being on our own and did not relish the thought of reverting to a divisional control. We were still attached to the 2nd Armored, but that was rather nebulous. Most of the time, we're left on our own discretion. So most of the time, you're pretty much on your own.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, fight where you want to fight, you know, retreat where you want to.
Lost the phone and everything.
What?
Lost the phone and everything.
Yes, so there's no communications.
Yeah.
It seemed that we're in a lull of sorts, even though we suspected that the tide had turned in our favor. The sight of the first American and Allied fighter planes a day or two ago confirmed that we had attained the offensive, and thus fighting would soon be over. So he knew the war was winding down now.
Yeah, yeah.
So he went through the worst of it. As we waited for the division to catch up with us, we took it upon ourselves to seek out a place to sack out for much needed rest. Hey, can I have a minute, Cal?
Yeah.
After having looked around the town for a while,
14.
After looking around the town for a while, we found an empty house on the edge of town. What happened to all the residents of these houses?
They evacuated.
Where would they go?
Out in the woods. Hide out in the woods.
Right out in the woods.
Yeah.
So your whole life is disturbed.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Just pack up and stay in the snow.
Yeah. Evacuate.
What a miserable situation. Okay. We emptied a house on the edge of the town with a large barn and away from the military traffic and hubbub. We entered the barn and quickly closed a large sliding door. So all these farmers, they lost everything.
Yeah.
Their barn, their equipment, their livestock, their houses.
They all
vacated.
lucky they had the rise.
I wonder when the war is over if there's anything to come back to.
If they're lucky, if they're still alive.
If they're still alive.
Yeah.
Because the Nazis would kill them, right?
Yeah.
That's a good point. If they're still alive. We entered the barn and quickly closed the large sliding door. I mean, these are family homes and barns and farms these people built with their own hands.
Yeah.
And to lose them just like this. What horrors of war. We entered the barn and quickly closed the large sliding door. We took most of the side of the barn. The living quarters attached to the barn seemed deserted, and I told Lesper and Late to check out the entire house for civilians as well as German soldiers. The barn was loaded with hay, and I looked about for a good spot for us to bed down. So the hay in these barns were your friends.
Yeah.
They kept you warm.
Yeah.
Right. Lester and Lake returned shortly and stated the house was empty, and it appeared to them it had been that way for some time. So apparently a family vacated a long time ago.
Yeah.
And since then Americans and Nazis were
Fighting it out, yeah.
Yeah. Upon hearing this, I suggested we find a place to sack out, but they should keep their weapons within reach, very important. It was not long before we're all sound asleep. By taking this form of action, we discarded the first rule of combat. Oh, wow. Never put yourself in a compromising situation. Always post guards in a hostile environment.
Yeah.
And you guys didn't do that, right?
Yeah.
We must have slept through the early evening hours and most of the night. When I first stirred and looked at my watch, it was 4:30 hours. I laid for a while trying to hear any unusual sounds. It was deathly quiet outside. The first thought came to my mind, what if everyone had left and we're here alone with the Germans already flushing the town out this very moment?
Yeah.
So when you woke up, you thought you might have been the only Americans left,
Yeah.
and the Germans have taken over. I got up and buckled my cartridge belt, checked my M1 and loaded a clip, and went to the side door. I put my ear to the door but heard nothing. I went through the kitchen entrance and peered out of one of the small rectangular windows. You had no lights in there, right?
No.
No. If you did have lights, was it just candle power they had back then?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
No, they had electricity.
They had electricity?
They had electricity.
In the 40s?
Yeah.
It was too dark to see anything,
10 minutes.
and I decided to step outside. I walked down the street, keeping well in the shadows of the houses, until I came to the intersection. So you had to really lay low, because you didn't know if the Germans taken over.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? until I came to an intersection. It was here that I saw several Jeeps and half-tracks. Suddenly there was a crisp halt. Give the password. I was taken by surprise, for I did not know where the voice was coming from. They repeated, password. Stand by. Again the voice repeated, password. By now I recovered my thoughts sufficiently and said I was from the 75th and did not know the password. Is that pretty common, not to know the password?
Yeah.
Pretty common. I wonder if many American soldiers got shot for not knowing the password. You think that might have happened?
Well, they thought they were German.
Yeah. What's your outfit? Was a stern retort. I'm company 291st. I replied half sheepishly, expecting a round to come through my helmet at any second. A figure from beneath one of the half-tracks approached me cautiously. His Thompson at the ready. A Thompson's a machine gun, right?
Yeah.
It was a younger soldier about my age, but taller and more muscular. Where are you? Oh yeah, here we go. Where are you from? He asked as he came up to me. Niagara Falls, New York. So now Niagara Falls, New York plays in again, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Famous Niagara Falls. I replied, relaxing somewhat. He smiled. He smiled and said, one of those honeymoon guys.
Yeah.
So everyone knew back then Niagara Falls, New York was a honeymoon capital.
Yeah.
People would travel all over the country to go to Niagara Falls, New York for a honeymoon.
Yeah, that was
How is it now?
desolate. All
Nothing.
shut down. No
Yeah.
good.
I smiled and raised both my arms before me in a forced manner. He relieved somewhat by my friendliness. He then told me I could get some chow up the road in about an hour. He also stated they would be pulling out shortly. So now you're pulling out again. You did a lot of moving.
Yeah.
It was always fleeting, right?
Always moving, yeah.
And the most of his outfit had pulled out during the night. And the only reason that they were still here was they had to repair their half-tracks. These guys can repair their own equipment?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good. I told them I had and was left a squad up the road, and they were grateful for the chow. He smiled and said I should get them down to the kitchen before they pulled out. Because they're pulling out like right now, right?
Yeah.
I thanked him and got back to the barn where they're still sleeping. I gently shook them and said, as they started to stir, told them to get their stuff together, that we're going to get some hot chow and then move out of here. They liked the idea of hot chow, but the moving out part, they weren't too enthusiastic about, knowing only too well what they denoted. That means you're going to war again.
Yeah.
After breakfast of hotcakes and coffee, the second lieutenant came up to us and said he would look after us, whatever that meant. He informed us that the Germans were attempting to break out on a broad front, and it was part of our job to stop them as many as we could. They had gotten themselves in a fortified goose egg. It was up to us to see that they did not get out now, without paying dearly for it. We would stay with the 2nd Armor for the time being. Our division, the 75th, was disjointed, and it would take several days before they got out and sorted it out. We would be attached to one of the armored infantry platoons and give supporting fire whenever possible. From what else the lieutenant said, the high command was determined to stand in the vicinity and stop the Germans dead in their tracks. One of the 2nd Armored Motorized Patrols just returned and reported the entire Panzer Battalion stalled in a little village of Salis, 25 miles of here. The town people informed them that the German tanks were out of gas. Because the Germans were planning on stealing your gas, right?
Yeah.
They're planning on killing you and stealing your gas. Okay, switching the page, stand by. The Panthers are stopped, no fuel, and desperately looking for some so they can escape the encirclement by the Americans.
4.5.
2 platoons of tanks were dispatched to the area, and that was 2 platoons of tanks were dispatched to the area, and that was where we were bound. Traveling in half-track, we sped along the roads of Salice, along an assortment of other half-track jeeps and self-propelled guns. Our stomachs were doing flip-flops. We were getting into battle with tanks, and our only protection would be a bunker if we were lucky. So they're sending you to fight with the tanks.
Yeah.
Wow. Tanks always made me feel uneasy, especially Mark IVs and Mark Vs. We were vulnerable to their every movement, and all the more when they were in attack mode. No one considered that our squad was under strength and even had insufficient ammunition. So you didn't have enough squad members and your ammo was just about out.
Yeah.
And they're sending you up to fight with these Panther tanks.
Yeah.
Jeez. As we approached Salice, we could see the tanks getting into position. One tank column swung east of the village to cut off possible retreat, while another column converged on the German pocket from the northwest. The half-track dropped us off a rise in the terrain just before gently sloping it into the village. The lieutenant told us to get our gun here and get a field of fire in the village. So that was your machine guns, right?
Yeah.
We struggled with the gun on a slippery, icy slope. I picked the snow and ice from around the tripod with my trench knife, and Leip looked on. I jammed the forward leg of the tripod into the ice and snow and became locked in. Leip snapped in the receiver. We loaded a belt into the chamber and set the elevation of the receiver and scanned the field of fire to our direct front. So now you're up on like a little hill looking down at the village.
Yeah.
I looked around for Lester and Huber. They were trying to dig into the frozen ground, but eventually gave up, looking for some other means of protection. The ground was so cold you couldn't dig it.
Yeah.
There were other infantry around, most of from the armored company. They too were having a difficult time seeking cover in the frozen ground. Also, a 57 millimeter gun and a 75 millimeter assault gun were placed in our immediate vicinity. This was no place to be when everything opened up. I surmised as I looked about at all the firepower concentrated in a small area. So with all this firepower, there's going to be one hell of a fight.
Yeah.
Minutes, please. There's going to be one hell of a fight.
Yeah.
$130.
Suddenly, a chain of tanks, armored cars, and half-tracks filled the infantry past us. They were on the road, in the field, everywhere, all heading down toward the village. In the lead were 9 40-ton Shermans. That's a lot of tank, 40-ton. As they came to the outskirts of the village, the 105s and 155s were buzzing overhead as support fire. The 9 tanks headed straight for the village, their stub-nosed 75s blazing away. Friendly fire dug up the streets as several tanks broke through. A half-track was hit and was on fire. The infantry and the other half-tracks jumped off and headed straight for the village.
44 seconds.
We moved our gun forward to the outskirts of the village without firing a shot. A German poked his head out of the foxhole and Lester shot him in the neck. This was alerted to us to the reality that was there where the Germans dug in
20 seconds.
around us. We swung the gun around away from the village and checked for friendly troops. So this was going to be a big war right now.
10
Yeah.
seconds.
And you had to be very careful. You didn't hit you didn't hit your
No,
troops.
we got in the woods. We got in the woods.
So you didn't hit your own guys.
Yeah.